Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing week 16 of my 2022 reads. This week was filled with so many amazing books. I really loved what I read this week. Timestamps and content warnings are in the description box below. First, I finished The Missing Page by Sebastian, which is the sequel to Hither Page, and this was so good. I am in love with this series, and actually I'm going to have a series review up later this week because it is just perfect. If you like cozy mysteries or romances, you should for sure pick this up. It is set in post-World War II Britain, and we follow a kind of a country doctor and a spy who end up falling in love, and they have to solve mysteries together. So this second book, the Dr. James, is called to Cornwall to go hear the reading of a will of sort of an estranged uncle. And while he's there, his lover Leo comes with him, and they find that there's quite a lot of unresolved family secrets that need to come to light, and so they have to work together on that, but also they have a lot of discussions about their relationship and where it's going, and it's so wonderful. I loved the relationship discussions, and I love the way that just the characters are. I'm totally in love with the characters, so this is just a really gentle and sweet cozy mystery romance. Definitely recommended. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is a 2021 novella that is nominated for a Hugo this year, and I had been looking forward to it because I'd heard really good reviews from a bunch of friends, but I was surprised by just how much I loved this story. So this story basically takes place in a world where there is a princess who is trying to go to a sorcerer to get help with some demon that has appeared in her world, except that the sorcerer is in fact kind of like a scientist who is on this world as part of a spacefaring mission, except that he's the only one left. And so we get the story told through both of their perspectives, through the princess's perspective and through the scientist's perspective, and they're written in totally different styles. So it's like reading part fantasy, part sci-fi, and so much of this story is about the communication between these two and how they understand or misunderstand each other, and it's so much about also them working towards what they're trying to accomplish. And in particular, for the scientist, he is dealing with so much isolation because he's the only one left of his scientific community who's at this station. And he's going through a lot of depression, and there's a lot of just discussion of managing depression and medication and all sorts of things. So it's got some really great themes. It's really well written. It's actually very funny. I laughed so much while reading this, and it's also got a little bit of body horror. Normally I don't love body horror, but I thought it was actually very well done in this. So yeah, this was a fantastic novella, really great in terms of the way it plays with genre and discusses so many cool themes. I thought this was excellent, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then on audiobook, I read Know My Name by Chanel Miller, which is read by herself, and this is such a good memoir. It is really, really heartbreaking. So definitely go into this reading content warnings. I've got a list down below, and knowing that this is going to be a very heavy and hard memoir, but it's also just so good. So Chanel Miller was raped by Brock Turner on Stanford campus when she was unconscious, and this went to trial, and he was convicted, but very famously the judge let him off with 6 months of jail time, saying that he had such a bright future, you know, you couldn't let this little thing get in the way. And it sparked this huge outrage because it was such an egregious example of systemic rape culture, you know? And so this memoir is just all about her experiences. It's so incredibly beautifully written, and the way that she takes it, not just as looking at what her experience was, but also just at rape culture. I think she does a great job of analyzing it. I'm tearing up just talking about it. It's so good, you guys. Really highly recommend. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I finished 3 poetry collections, which I talked about in a vlog that I put up last week on National Poetry Month, so I'll link that below. But in case you didn't watch the vlog and you want to know what my thoughts were on the poetry collections, I'll talk about them here too. So the first is All the Names Given by Raymond and Antrobus. This is a poetry collection really focusing on identity. Raymond and Antrobus's mom is white British and his dad was black Jamaican, and so he's exploring kind of what that means for him. What that means for his ancestry, what that means for his current identity, and really exploring a lot of those things. Also, he is a deaf poet, and so there's quite a bit in this too about deafness. I thought that these poems were very good. They didn't necessarily always reach me on a deeper level, and I wasn't necessarily like blown away by the beauty of the writing, even though I did think it was quite good. I still thought it was a great collection, but it didn't necessarily reach me as deeply as I would have liked. But I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend it. Then I read Citizen by Claudia Rankine. This is a poetry collection really focused on systemic racism and Black Lives Matter. It was published in 2014, and Claudia Rankine does such a good job of writing these poems that are really calling out so much of the microaggressions as well as huge systemic issues like police brutality or the representation in media or all of these big issues around race in the US. I found that these poems were incredibly powerful in the way that they just called out all of this BS, and I loved reading this collection. I think it was excellent, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And lastly, I read Junk by Pico. This is a really interesting poetry collection because it's more of one long poem, but with many small stream of consciousness reflections on the idea of junk. Pico does so much play with language in here and so much reflection on just what junk means to him. He does a lot of wordplay where he plays with the idea of junk as stuff, but also as emotional baggage, also as genitalia. He is a queer Indigenous Latinx poet, and he talks a ton about those experiences as well. He is just really brilliant in the way that he uses imagery and play, and I loved this collection so much. It's a little hard to describe for me, but I thought it was absolutely stunning. I don't know that this will work for everybody. I think that it's a very unique and stylized style of poetry, but I thought it was fantastic. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really want to read more of his poetry. Okay, so that's everything that I read this week. It was such a fantastic reading week. I really loved these books, and I definitely recommend that you read them if you haven't already. If you have read them, I'd love to hear from you what you thought, if you have anything you want to chat with me about, or if you read any good books yourself this week and want to tell me about them, go ahead and leave me a comment down below.